the end of the semester can always be so sad if a class has been really good, as this one has been. But even though it's the end of the class, I want to remind you that it's not the end of your writing necessarily. If you are able to drum up some internal motivation to continue pushing yourself to get at the keyboard and tell your stories, and in a way that is creative and not just always straightforward narrative, but playing around with it a bit, will always yield a more interesting final product. And with some of the things that you've already written for this class, for a few of you, you've got pieces now already that are kind of ready to try submitting some places. If you're interested in seeing if you can get published, there are some of you who have written pieces where you had the time and you had the ideas and you really pulled together something that's quite polished already. And for almost everyone in the class, you've written at least one thing, if not several, where you've got a solid draft that with just a little bit more work, maybe taking some of the suggestions that folks gave you in the class and doing some revising, just putting in some more hours, looking at it with a critical eye, having other people in your life read it. Pretty much everyone in the class has a draft of something that could be shaped into something that is ultimately perhaps publishable. All of that said, the truth is that there are thousands of writers in the world who would like to see their stuff published. So it's competitive and it's difficult. And you do have to have the wherewithal to take rejection and to accept sometimes, like, okay, this thing that I wrote that I really love, it seems like no one's interested in it, so maybe it's not there. Maybe this isn't it. But what I'm going to do for the rest of this video is try and give you some suggestions and some ideas of places that I have been able to find information about. How do I submit something? What even are the publications? Obviously, anything that you can find online would be good information, but I will give you some screenshots from some websites that have been useful to me. For example, if you are a new and emerging writer who has never been published anywhere, a really good entry point can be submitting a piece that you've worked long and hard on. You could submit it to a contest, because many publications run an annual contest. And often with the contest, there is some sort of reward. Like you could potentially win some prize money if you have a good piece. And even if your piece goes nowhere, it's really good to get experience in writing the quick cover note that they want and learning how do you even submit something. So even if it gets rejected, you've kind of taken the first step to understanding how all this works. And what I found from submitting some essays I wrote to a lot of different places in the hopes of publication or to contests, what I found was so many online, so many journals and magazines, they use a system called Submittable, submittable.com, I do believe. And it is basically a way to upload your document to whatever journal or magazine that you're aiming for. And then they read it from there and they tell you through submittal if it was submittable, if it was accepted or rejected. So you might look into creating an account through Submittable. I'll try and do a screenshot of my own Submittable so you can see rejection, 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 accepted, rejection, 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 just to kind of see what it looks like. And then the other thing I'll do a screenshot of is Submittable once a week. I think it's every Monday. They send, if you sign up for it, they send out an email kind of roundup of different publications that are looking for submissions of a variety of types. Sometimes it's art, sometimes it's a photography call, sometimes it's a call for flash fiction, sometimes, so it tells you like what's the publication and it gives you a hyperlink to the publication and what are they looking for submissions in, or if there's a contest. But what I also really like about the weekly newsletters, the first chunk of it are links to good articles that they've seen online. So good stuff to read online. So I appreciate it just as a reader who's always trying to figure out what good writing looks like. I like to read their suggested articles each week, and then I look at the calls for submissions that they've got out. So that's called, it's through Submittable, but it's called, I think, I'm going to say it wrong, even if I had it written in paper in front of me, Again, I'm going to give you a screenshot in the video here in a minute when I stop talking. I would say that if you are internally motivated and if you are interested in the idea of trying to get your stories and your words in front of more reading eyes, that the end of this class doesn't need to be the end of it all for you. I mean, maybe you just wanted your 3 credits or your grade and you're out of here. But if you were more invested in the actual content and the idea that through telling and sharing our stories, we connect with others and we kind of keep a certain part of humanity alive that I think is threatened with extinction sometimes in the era we're living in. If you believe in the power of storytelling and sharing stories, and you believe that you yourself have something to say and a good way of saying it, then why not carry on? Even though the class is over, why not see if you can get your stories out there and share them with a wider audience? Never hurts in life to go for it, does it? So I'm going to now give you some screenshots of some of the things I've mentioned here and a few other things. I'll try and come up with stuff that you can find easily online yourself, and then through clicking and reading, figure out the process. So anyhow, I do want to say thank you so much for a really amazing semester. It has been very special for me. So thank you.